Hi, in this video I will be reading my first Emily Henry book, which is Funny Story, and it's a reading vlog with spoilers. So if you don't want the spoilers, you should go back to my other video, because the one I posted before this one is a reading vlog without spoilers. So again, this is the vlog with spoilers. Okay, so the book is basically about Daphne and Miles. They both had a partner, and Daphne was even planning on getting married. But then those two people that they were with ended up together. They kind of cheated on them and they hooked up and they're together now. Then Miles and Daphne end up living together because Daphne doesn't get that much time to find a new place, and Miles was living with Petra. So there's a room free and she decides to live with him and he's okay with that. That's kind of the first chapter of this book. And then I will start reading and give you updates along the way. So I hope you like this spoiler reading vlog. But okay, this is actually page 21, so it's not that much of a spoiler, but I don't know if you can see it. Not really. I underlined some things, so I want to mention that. Yuma and Arman are two of my favorites. He's endlessly energetic and imaginative, and she writes that magical line of keeping firm rules without squashing his little weirdo spirit. So that's like about a mom and her son. And I feel like that's so cute because, okay, for like to clarify, Daphne is a librarian and she sometimes has like this story hour where she reads books to children. And it's so cute because there's this one guy or kid, who always dresses up in a Spider-Man costume. And there's this girl who's super smart and she's like way ahead of everybody. So Daphne gives like recommendations that are a bit more challenging for her, like book recommendations. And I don't know, she's just really connecting with these kids, and I feel like that's so cute. And that the mom is like, she has rules, but she's not squashing his weirdo spirit. I thought that was just such a cute thing to say. And then it also says, no part of my week goes as fast as story hour does. I get so sucked into it that I usually only remember I'm at work when I close the last book of the day. Like, to love your job so much, how cute is that? And then she thinks like maybe she should move because she moved to this city because Peter lived there. But she doesn't have to move. Like, she has a really good job and she's making friends. So don't move. Just stay where you are if you like it there, you know? And that's what Miles is also telling her. Like, you don't have to move away. You have a good job, you're making friends. Why are you going to move away just for a guy? Like, you moved here for him. Don't also move away because of him. Oh, and the friend that Daphne's making is called, what's her name? Ashley. And she's like a very powerful woman that doesn't take shit from men. And I think she's really fun. Oh, and they get like an invitation for the wedding of Peter and Petra. What? Like, you just broke up with someone to go date someone else, and a month later you're gonna marry that person and then invite your ex? Like, why? What? That's crazy. In chapter 4 or 5 or something, Miles and Daphne go to the Meat Locker, which is kind of a bar in their town, and there they meet Gil. And when they said like Gil, who, I don't know, they kind of described him a little bit, and I thought that's Gil from Gilmore Girls, you know, the rocker old dude. I don't know. I thought that was really funny, and he felt bad for them because they told him their story, and I mean, who wouldn't feel bad for them? So he kept buying them drinks and buying them more drinks, and Daphne is not somebody who drinks a lot, or at least I don't think so. It doesn't seem like she does. So she didn't really remember the night. Like, nothing crazy happened, but they did decide to RSVP for the wedding. And then Peter calls and is like, are you coming to the wedding on your own? And she's like, no, I'm not going on my own. I have a boyfriend and I'm bringing him. Then Peter's like, but it's in 3 months. Are you sure you're still going to be together? And Daphne got so pissed and she's like, yes, I'm still going to be with him. I'll see you then. Bye. And she hung up the phone. And I thought that was really fun. And then she walked in like up to Miles's room. Was like, I said we're dating, and he's just like, yeah, good idea. Let's do that. Let's fake date. And yeah, they're going with it. Okay, here's something I really related to. It's page 34. Um, Daphne says, when I meet someone new, half the time my mind goes blank. And the other half of the time, I make a joke that absolutely no one realizes is a joke, or I ask something way too personal. Yeah, that's me. There's some point where Miles decides to take a picture with Daphne, and he's like, yeah, post it on your social media so that like Peter and Petra can see us being together. But she was eating toast and she had like avocado smeared on her face, and then Miles put an arm around her and they take a picture. Like the picture itself, great, like good idea, sure, that's cute. But like you have avocado on your face and then you post that on your Insta. I don't like that. I mean, she's being real, although she's fake dating, so she's not being real. It's like I personally wouldn't post a picture where there's like avocado on my face. I would not want to put that out there. But she's referencing it as if it's like so romantic, and okay, I don't know. I felt that was kind of weird. Okay, there's something to say. You can obviously say that it's a bit like immature and childish to pretend to date just to make them jealous, but you need to just ignore that and just go with it, you know? Because then it's a lot of fun. There is this moment, it's so cute. Okay, so it's page 98. We're getting further along into it. They're talking about like, would Petra and Peter, would they feel jealous or don't they feel anything at all? Like, how would they feel about this? And then Miles is kind of down about it and he's kind of upset. And Daphne says this, and it's so cute. It makes me feel a teensy tiny bit better to think she could see a picture of me sitting in your lap and staring adoringly at you, and remember that you deserved that all along. Because she also said she didn't appreciate you and she should have. And I don't know, now that I'm saying it out loud, it doesn't sound like that romantic or anything, but I was reading this and I'm like, oh, yes, he needs to hear that he's like a good guy. Because she also mentioned, like, you're the sweetest person I've ever met, and he is. He's so nice. Guys, page 119. Yes, I really enjoyed this. They walk into Peter, and Daphne gets really upset, and she decides to walk up to Miles and say, can I kiss you? And it's so funny because then they start kissing, and she goes at it, you know? And he thought she meant like, oh, kiss you in a romantic way. But Daphne's not taking it slow. And then they're kind of laughing it off, and then Miles goes in and he's like, okay, we're gonna kiss for real. And yeah, I don't know. That was I like that. Later in the book you find out that Miles is dyslexic, and I'm like, I'm dyslexic too. Ah, okay. What a vibe. I'm sorry this video is kind of chaotic. I'm just saying random shit and I don't know how I'm gonna edit this into like a normal story. Ooh, okay, here's the thing. He says, as a kid, I never read for fun. I'm dyslexic and it took too long. What about audiobooks? I say. Does that count? He asks. Of course it counts, I say. His eyes narrow. Are you sure? I'm a librarian, I say. If anyone gets to decide whether it counts or not, it's me. So, you've heard it. Audiobooks count. The more you know. And then I'm at chapter 12, and that's where I left off. So, now I'll just continue reading and update you along the way. Yesterday in the evening, I read a lot more, and there were some things that happened. Like you learn a little bit more about the parents of Miles and of his sister. So basically, the mom is like quite manipulative. She just always makes you feel bad, and she always made him feel like he had to be the best, and if he was sad, then she would be upset, and she's saying, why would you do this to me? Now you're making me look bad. And if he was mad, she would get mad. And just every time he like felt an emotion, it would be his fault for her feeling bad. He needed to be exactly what she wanted from him. So that's kind of why he shut off his emotions and he just always did what his mom wanted until he was 18. And then he was like, I'm getting out of here. And he left his sister behind. Like his sister is 13 years younger. So there was quite an age difference and he really felt quite bad for leaving her. So he didn't move very far away so that he could still come over in the weekends and like take her to McDonald's so that she would be out of the house for a little bit. And he looks at that as if he's like so weak for only being there once a week for his sister. And she looks at it like he made my week so much better by still being there. But yeah, it's basically that he feels bad that he isn't around too much and she is just glad that he's there at all. And now the sister just shows up at their house and is like, can I stay one more week? And she keeps staying longer and longer, and then she decides to move to the place. And she basically talks to Daphne about it, how she appreciates her brother so much and he feels like real family and he's always there for her. But like Miles talks to Daphne about how he feels like the shittiest brother and how he wish he was there for her more. So I hope at one point they will have like a conversation with just Miles and his sister. Okay, this is so shitty because Daphne's father shows up, but he's been not like present in her life at all. He just shows up at her like even in her childhood, he would just show up maybe on her birthday, or he would send a card with nothing on it, just dad, ex dad or something like that's it, no message at all. And then apparently, like one birthday ago, which was like a few months ago, her birthday, um, he sent a card where he says, "Happy birthday! Also, I just got married." Okay, yeah, you don't even like call her up to tell her in person or whatever. No, you're just gonna send a postcard with like, "By the way, I'm married now. You've got a stepmom." What? And then the stepmom and her dad just show up to her apartment, like out of the blue. I mean, he called, but she didn't answer the call, so she didn't know what was going on. And then he's just like there. Starfire is obviously his girlfriend, or well, his wife. And Starfire like hugs her, and she's a, I want to say clairvoyant. No, what do you call that? Like, that she's like, I can see your future. Whatever. Medium? No, that's not the word. Yeah, I don't know. It's so, ugh. And then they show up, and I mean, I guess it's nice. And the dad, like, pays for the dinner, and he wants to celebrate her birthday, so he buys a cake. And so it's nice. And that's kind of when Daphne gets her hopes up, like, oh, he's actually gonna be here for me now. And then the next day they're gone, although they were supposed to like go to story hour and see her at her job, but they're just like, oh, some friends invited us, and they didn't even like tell her in person or call her or anything. No, they left a note. They just left a note and they were like, we're gone. That's like so shitty. Daphne feels like people are always leaving her and it's really sad. I mean, Miles did make it sound better, it was like, it's not people leaving you, it's people being scared of who they are and they know that you see through them. Also, I didn't know Emily Henry was writing spice like that. Like, nobody told me that. I mean, the thing is, it wasn't that spicy or anything, but I thought it was gonna be like tension building and then maybe a closed door or like fade to black or, something like that. But there was like a whole chapter that was kind of spicy. It's nothing like crazy. I think I would give it like 3 spicy peppers out of 5. I need to read because otherwise I'm not going to be able to finish this before I go on my holiday. This chapter starts, it's like, I sleep late on Sunday, and when I do wake, Miles is still in my bed, one arm over me. Oh. Okay, this is so good because the like her dad left this note, and I feel like she did read it once, I hope. She says usually when she was a kid she would read it over and over and see, like, try to figure out if she did something wrong and that's why he left, or if like there's a hidden clue that he loves her or something. And now she's like, I just threw it in the trash. You go, girl. Yeah, throw that shit in the trash. Like, he's trash. I mean, there's hopefully more to it, but I feel like that's a better thing to do than like rereading the note 500 times. She forgot about her friend Ashley. They were supposed to go painting together because it was Ashley's birthday and she doesn't like birthdays, but they were gonna paint her house to have like a new, fresh start. But Ashley got sick from work and then Daphne didn't call her. Ashley is like, I knew you were a wee girl and now you got a wee, because she missed it because she was at the beach with Miles. But like her dad was there, so she was forgetting things, but yeah, it is still shitty. Miles stood her up, but like probably not on purpose, but he was supposed to pick her up from her job and he like something came up and he's a little bit fake about it. So now she's like spiraling and she's like, oh, he doesn't love me, I shouldn't love him. And then she gets a call from the public library of the other place that she like might go live, and we'll see. Miles doesn't come home that night. What what Okay, this book is doing so much to me because my heart is actually racing. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm happy that I read chapter 35 before I left on my holiday because Daphne actually talked to her father and some things became clear when her father and Firestar left and like didn't even, they just left a note and they didn't call her or anything. Miles actually went up to the island where they were going to stay and he was yelling at her dad being like, you need to at least call her, you need to come back and like be there for her and be a good dad. And then he's just like, no, she doesn't mind, she's always been okay with this. Miles never told Daphne that he went over there. Her father actually called her to see how the bookathon readathon thing was going, and I mean that was nice that he checked in, he usually doesn't, so that's something, I guess. But then he kind of let it slip that he thought Miles was kind of crazy for coming down there and, you know, telling them to come back, and that he knew his own daughter and knew she wouldn't care. And that's when she told him that he was basically a very shitty dad and he should have just been there. I was so happy that she did say that because I was hoping there would be like some open communication about it. It was a bit hasty though because she like had to hang up and for the library event, but it's still good that she said it, and I hope that one day they'll talk about it a little bit more and maybe, you know, get to a solution, or I don't know. But it was good that she stood up for herself. And now she knows that like Miles went all the way up there for her, and I hope she's gonna make up with him. Yeah, sure, they could be good friends, but right now it just like broke off. Because she thought he went to Petra, and he did, but like he just helped her because he is a good person. Miles is such a good guy, so I really hope that she kind of accepts that and lets him in. Miles just showed up to the library and he's gonna help out, and he's so sweet. Miles went to Petra to help her, and then he says, okay, wait, where is it? When I got over there, she was trying to tell me how the whole thing was a mistake, so I told her about you. That we slept together, I say bewildered. He gives a surprised laugh. No, Daphne, that I love you. He's says, maybe if I could get through to your dad, if I could help fix that, then I would prove myself capable of giving you everything you want. Like, no, you already are. Oh. He says, and I feel lucky every time you look at me. Not because I think I've managed to earn you, but because it feels like you don't need me to. Like you just like me. Mm. Yeah, she likes you. I got confused, and so did Miles, because she said something. No matter what you said today, I've already made up my mind. So I'm like, but you were gonna move, so you're gonna leave? You're not gonna be with him? And he is thinking the same thing, because now she goes, I realize I phrased this the worst possible way. No, I say, I mean, regardless of what happens between us, I'm not done here. I'm getting my own place, I explain. Right here, I hope, right? Oh, okay. So she did get a place in the town, but she did get her own place because she doesn't want to live with Miles, because she doesn't want to build her life around him like she did with Peter. And I feel like she just wants to kind of date him, but also have her own life and her own place, which I think is a very good idea, actually. um but he's like, but it can work, I wanted to. And she says like, oh, I think so too. I can't imagine ever meeting anyone more wonderful than you, so if it doesn't work, I'm going to be single, and I'm going to stay single, go to a sperm bank, and get into CrossFit. Sadie and Daphne have contact again, because Sadie actually reached out. No, Daphne actually reached out first, and then Sadie did apologize and said that she felt really bad. But her husband, or well, her fiance, is like best friends with Peter. So that made it really hard for her, because she kind of had to decide between her fiance and her best friend. And she did kind of pick her fiance, but Daphne understands, and they're kind of figuring out how to be friends again. Daphne says, I'm working on being excited instead of nervous about the unknown. And I feel like that's something Miles had a lot of influence in. I finished! They did end up moving in together, but I feel like maybe it's a year later or like a while later. They bought a house together, and they now have like a housewarming party with his sister and Ashley and her mom, Daphne's mom. And I think it's a lot of fun. And it does also mention that her dad is trying to show up more and, is working on that. So that's very nice. I really like it. I think Daphne and Miles are really cute together. Like, she moved to this city because of Peter, but now she's building her own life and getting her own friends, enjoying her job, and I just really like that she's settling down for herself and, putting herself first. So that's very important. And I think Miles is such a nice guy. He is a bit spontaneous, adventurous, I don't know, but he's also very reliable, and I feel like that's very good. I really enjoyed it. I don't know, I feel like maybe it's a 5 star, maybe it's a 4.5, but honestly, I cannot think of anything I would necessarily change. I really enjoyed this book. I thought there were some funny moments, and there was also some emotional moments. So, very happy to have read this. And I'm sorry if this reading vlog was very messy. I've never done a reading vlog before, so I didn't really know how to go about filming it, and like with or without the spoilers, and I don't know. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit messy. I will learn how to do that a bit better. But if you have also read this book, I would really like to hear your thoughts about it, and maybe also what other book you would recommend by Emily Henry. Like, what's the next book I should read by her that I might also like. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye!